מזמור שיר ליום השבת מזמור שיר ליום השבת שימחני אדוני בפועלך במעשה ידיך ארנן הגדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמדו מחשבותיך מזמור שיר מזמור שיר ליום השבת מזמור שיר ליום השבת Nine 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 nine. Nine 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 nine.
I shall not fear at all.
It's gonna be a race. may or may not affect my inviting you to do an aliyah. But that's right. One or both. Okay. It's okay. No problem. If it works out, you both get it. If you don't, hello, Heather.
Okay.
Gosh, doing choir. So nice to have. Yeah. Sometimes just singing together is yeah. Right.
Her CT scan was clear, and her cardio went down, and her blood pressure went down. She asked me about it. After he did have her, he showed her.
Yeah.
Yai lai, yai lai lai.
Shabbat Shalom. This week in Parshat Vayichel, we have a continuation of the creation of the tabernacle. In Torah study this morning, we spoke about the connection between the creation of the tabernacle and the creation of the world. That it is with Chokhmah, with Binah, with Da'at, these three characteristics, attributes that both God created the world and the people created the tabernacle. And yet there is another aspect, and that is that we as human beings are endowed with those three. And so in some way, our Parsha reminds us of the connection that we have to ourselves, to our community as exemplified by the Beit Knesset, the house of assembly where we come together, and creation itself. We find all of that in the beauty of Shabbat. That Shabbat reminds us of our own creation, our sense of connection to the wider creation, and to our connection to community. So it is nice that we are all together here in person and online to celebrate Shabbat together. We begin our service page 192, page 192, Ma Tovu.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov bishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov bishkenotecha Yisrael, Yisrael.
Page 194. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it will be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
Baruch atah Adonai rofeh kol basar mafli lasot.
My God, the soul that you have given me is pure. You created it. You shaped it. You breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God and God of our ancestors, source of our creation, sovereign of all souls. Praise be you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind.
Baruch atah Adonai asher biyad nefesh kol chai veruach kol besar ish. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasach bibiנה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עתיד אסורים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kefufim.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layayef koach.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיני ותנומה מעפעפיי.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בן חורים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עושה ישראל בגבורה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifadaha.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
Amen. Page 204. Adonai, our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah to our people Israel.
ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, 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 אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור,
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Psalm December 212. Baruch she'aman ve'aya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch oseh bereishit, Baruch omer ve'oseh, Baruch noser u'mekayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch משלם שכר טוב ליראה, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך בודק מציל, ברוך שמו.
One God, life of the universe, praised and glorious ruler, your name is eternal. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign who is glorified through praise.
ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
With this do I prepare myself. Psalm 150, page 218.
Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. El bekodesho. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bete kashofar. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Benevel bechinor. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Betov umachol. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bemilim ve'ugam. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Betzil tzelei shama. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Betzil tzelei trua. Kol הנשמה
Hallelujah.
תהלליה.
Hallelujah.
כל הנשמה תהלליה. הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה. הללויה.
Page 223. You shall always be praised, great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and earth. Songs of praise and psalms of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory always. We offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation.
ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמרפא,
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותך, ימליך מלכותך, בחיי חוד ובימי חוד, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב בימרו.
Amen.
יש מרבה מבורך, לעולם לעולם מיה. יתברך וישתפר, בית פוער ובית רמם בית נאסר, ויתהלל ויתעלה ויתהלל, שם קודשה. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן והלמה ואמרו.
Amen. Rise for Baruch.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we may all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מרערו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy upon us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praised are you, Adonai, who chooses your people, Israel, in love.
ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
May be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 240. And what is my lifespan? I'm like a man gone out of Egypt. The Red Sea parts, I cross on dry land. Two walls of water on my right and on my left. Pharaoh's army and his horsemen behind me. Before me the desert, perhaps the promised land too. That is my lifespan.
באלים אדוני, מי כאן בוכה נהדר בקודש, מי כאן בוכה באלים אדוני, מי כאן בוכה נהדר בקודש, דורה דאילות אוסף אליהם, דורה דאילות אוסף אליהם. כמוך באלי אדוני, מי כמוך דן בקודש, מי כמוך באלי אדוני, מי כמוך דן בקודש. שירה חדשה שיבחו כיולים לשלפת הים, יחד כל עמודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזת ישראל, עובדינו מחיידה בישראל, גואלנו נאי צבאות שמו קדוש, ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני, קהל ישראל.
We rise for Amidah, page 242.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, תומך חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן הברכה בעזר הצרה. אתה גיבור לעם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מקלקל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, בלי כמוך בעל גבורות ובדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר,
קדוש, קדוש, קדוש,
אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר, שמך בכל הארץ.
ברוך
אדוני אדוני במקומו. החמדו אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, ומושיענו וכו ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי
נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם באל, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. העם מקדש שביעי שבת, כולם ישמחו ויתענגו בטובך השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. הם דתי ימים אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית.
Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life in peace and in joy.
Baruch atah Adonai shotcha levatcha beiranav modim anachnu lach.
We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai atov shimcha ulecha na'el lechodot. שלום, טובה וברכה, הן בחסד ברחמים ברחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד, באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו.
שים שלום,
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, הן בחסד ברחמים ברחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה, ברחמים בחיים ושלום, בחיים ושלום.
שים שלום,
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, הן בחסד ברחמים ברחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב עיניך לברכת עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. We take a moment for a silent meditation. Shalom, shalom, bimbroma. Oh, say shalom, shalom, bimbroma. Oh, say shalom, shalom, bimbroma. Say shalom, shalom, bimbroma. Yaseh, shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael imru amen. Shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel imru amen.
We continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, service for reading Torah, page 362.
Ein kamocha האלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון, תבנה אומות ירושלים, תבנה אומות ירושלים, כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל פי קדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. גדלו לאדוני עתים, ונרממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח והאור. כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, ימיד נעשה לכל ראש. רוממנו אלוהינו וישתחו לרב קדושו, רוממנו אלוהינו וישתחו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
You may be seated. I want to do something just a little bit different today. There we go. And I'll study a little Torah with you, rather than just doing a sermon. I want to take a look at the verses that we're going to be reading today, which are Exodus 35, beginning of chapter 35 in Exodus. For those of you who are in the sanctuary, it is hopefully on page 552. Probably. Yes, am I? Okay. I got the official word that we're correct on the pages. For those of you who are online, you've got the pages right there, or the verses right there in front of you on the slide. I said at the beginning of services that this is a parsha that speaks a lot about the creation of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, all the items that are found within the tabernacle. But before that, there is just a quick little reminder about Shabbat. We read in the first couple of verses, these are the things that God has commanded you to do. On 6 days, work may be done, and on the seventh day you shall have a Shabbat of complete rest. You shall kindle no fire throughout your homes on the day of Shabbat. So, in this case, why are they bringing up Shabbat at this point? What's the reason that we would have to bring up Shabbat? Well, it's because they're going to be doing work. They're going to be creating the tabernacle, something that they want to do, something that they need to do. And God's just reminding them at this moment in our text, hey, don't forget that in your excitement to build this, you still have to do Shabbat. So I want us to look at those first couple of verses that says, these are the things that God has commanded you to do, and then that you're supposed to work for 6 days, and then on the seventh day, you're not supposed to work. So first, God commands us to do things. And then on Shabbat, God commands us not to do things. Right? And the rest of Vayikra is all about doing, making, bringing, designing, producing. And here's the conundrum. Right? To not do on Shabbat is one of the Torah's principal mitzvot. We set aside even creation of the sacred space of the tabernacle. And yet, on Shabbat, we must re-engage in the world of doing. So what are we valued for? Who we are or what we do? Are we human beings or are we human doings? Well, no surprise, Judaism says the answer is yes. Yes to both. Right? We are valued for who we are, for our own unique potential, for our beingness. And yes, we are also judged by the mitzvot that we perform, that we model, that we transmit, our doingness. It's not an either or, but a yes and. While being on Shabbat, we renew our ability to do. While doing on the weekdays, we remain true to who we are. Our goal is to merge our being and our doing. Right? To bring the whole, the opposite of the sacred, a little bit closer to the sacred. The mundane, the work, right? We want to bring that a little bit closer to the Kodesh, the holiness of Shabbat. Now, of all the things we're told not to do on Shabbat, right, the Mishnah gives us 39 categories of work. Right here, right, we have a prohibition, a specific one of those 39, so we're not supposed to kindle fire throughout our homes on the day of Shabbat. Right? Numerous times we're reminded, we're commanded not to work on Shabbat. Here, we get this additional prohibition against lighting a fire. And what's the special lesson? Why fire? Why not something else? Well, the prohibition against lighting a fire is not because it was work. Fire is an interference with nature. Think about it. Nature says we have a period of darkness, that's called night, and then we have a period of light, that's called day. But that fire means that we can have light during night. It is an interference of the creation of the world. And that on Shabbat, we should allow things to be as they are without creative interference. Rabbi Isaiah Hurwitz from mid-16th, early 17th century creatively suggests that fire prohibited on Shabbat actually isn't even just the fire that we heat our food or heat our home with, but rather the fire of anger and tension, the fire of disharmony in our home. That Shabbat is a day on which we should be careful with our personal relations, especially those with whom we love. It's a time to go out of our way to create a spiritual as well as a physical atmosphere of tranquility and harmony, the natural balance of light and darkness, right? Of peace and harmony. I want to do one more thought, which is most of us think about Shabbat in terms of what we're not able to do. Okay? We're not able to work. We're not able to write. We're not able to light a fire. We're not able to create. Commenting on a lengthy Talmudic discussion concerning what behaviors are allowed and what behaviors are not allowed, Rashi, the great medieval commentator from the 11th century, seems to reject the widespread assumption that building is completely forbidden. Right? Rashi explains that it's only forbidden to improve something. That it's perfectly fine to restore things that have fallen into disrepair, which may be the reason why every so often on Shabbat I'm out fixing my house or whatever other things. I try not to do that. Okay? So here's an example. Okay, so if the rotted floor in the bathroom collapses and sends your bathtub into the living room down below, you can legitimately spend Shabbat restoring the situation. What you can't do is decide to replace your perfectly functional bathtub with a nice jacuzzi tub. Okay? Using very detailed language, right, Rashi distinguishes between our needs and our desires. If everything is working fine, okay, we can fix it because let me get this right. If the house collapses, okay, we can fix it because we need it. We need it because we need a home. If everything is working fine, okay, we can't improve it even if we really want to. Okay? We can satiate our hunger within the sanctity of Shabbat, but not our appetite. Okay? In this sense, Shabbat is about reorienting, is a reorienting reminder of perspective. Okay? it refocuses us on what we need rather than what we want in the world. So we have Shabbat as a day in which we both be so that we can do, and then do in order so that we can be. We don't kindle fire because we want to not interfere with the natural order, and we want to restore a sense of balance and harmony. And then Shabbat is also a reminder of the things that we need and the things that we want. With that, we will turn, since you're hopefully already there, to Exodus 35, beginning with verse 1. And we're going to invite Heather. Heather, will you come up for our first Aliyah? Heather Oppenheimer. Talmud Shira Bat Avraham V'Sara Aliyah La Torah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMarak.
Baruch Adonai HaMarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
אמן. ויקל משה את כל עדת בני ישראל, ויאמר עליכם אלה הדברים אשר ציווה אדוני לעשות אותם 6 ימים. תעשה מלאכה וביום השביעי יהיה לכם קודש שבת שבתון לאדוני. כל העושה פה מלאכה יומד, לא תבערו אש בכל מושבותיכם ביום השבת.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet, V'chayei Olam Nata Betochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. At this point, we think about those of our friends and neighbors, members of our community, of our own family who are in need of God's blessing of healing. This Shabbat, we are thinking about Osvaldo Barraza, Rick Center, Elliot Citron, Howard Citron, Etta Rachel Bat Malka Zissel, Linda Falcon, Susan Friedman, David Eisenberg, Ed Johns, Mindy Elizabeth Jones, Susan Jones, Leah Tova Bar, Jack Lieb, Kobe Maidenberg, Malka Bat Rivka, Shemai Ben Michael, Leslie Piken, Elka Rock, Jackie Robinson, Shaul Ben Moshe Verivka, Mark Rockfeld, Shoshana Dvora Bat Chava, Mark Byron, Singer, Ari Tzvi Ben Sura, Suzette Schultz, Kevin Webb. Misha Berach Avatenu Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov, Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah, Huya Verech Ve'yira Pe Et Cholim, Kodesh Baruch Hu Yamalei Rachamim Aleihem, L'Hachlimam L'Rapotam, L'Hachzikam L'Hachiotam, V'Yishlach B'mheira Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, U'Refuat HaGuf, B'tok Shar, Cholei Yisrael, Hashta Ba'Galav Bizman Kariv V'Nomar. We say, Amen. Sharon Mala, can I invite you to hold our Torah again? We're going to invite the congregation to rise as our Torah is lifted.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאי לי 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 ya dai 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 ya dai da da dai lai dai da da dai ya da dai da dai dai da dai dai. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 לי.
This week is a special Haftarah. It's the beginning as we are marching closer to Pesach. We haven't even gotten to Purim, but we're marching towards Pesach. This is a Shabbat Shekalim, the Shabbat of the shekel. And in this case, the Haftarah is speaking about King Jehoash, who needs to provide for the repairs of the temple. And so, of course, as with every synagogue that needs repairs, costs money, and the way in which they do that is through everyone contributing to that. And it's not a long Haftarah. We'll read a little bit in Hebrew, and then we will read it in English as well.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנביאים טובים ורצה בדבריכם הנאמרים באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בתורה ומשה עבדו ובישראל עמו בנביאי האמת והצדק. בן 7 שנים יואש במלכו בשנת 7 ליהוא מלך יואש 40 שנה מלך בירושלים ושם אמו צביה מבאר שבע. ויעש יואש הישר בעיני אדוני כל ימיו אשר הוראו יהוידע הכהן.
Sorry, it's on page 1277 if you'd like to follow along. And the Sephardi and Ashkenazi readings for Shabbat Shekalim is they either add in a little bit of chapter 11 or begin with chapter 12. We're going to begin with chapter 12 in the middle of the page. Jehoash was 7 years old when he became king. Jehoash began his reign in the 7th year of Jehu, and he reigned in Jerusalem 40 years. His mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba. All his days Jehoash did what was pleasing to the Lord, and the priest Jehoiada instructed him. The shrines, however, were not removed. The people continued to sacrifice and offer at the shrines. Jehoash said to the priests, "All the money, current money, brought into the house of the Lord as sacred donations, Any money a man may pay as the money equivalent of persons, or any other money that a man may be minded to bring to the house of the Lord, let the priest receive it, each from his benefactor. They in turn shall make repairs on the house wherever damage may be found. But in the 23rd year of King Jehoash, it was found that the priests had not made the repairs on the house. So King Jehoash summoned the priest Jehoiada and the other priests and said to them, "Why have you not kept the house in repair? Now do not accept money from your benefactors anymore, but have it donated for the repair of the house." The priests agreed that they would neither accept money from the people nor make repairs on the house. And the priest Jehoiada took a chest and bore a hole in its lid. He placed it at the right side of the altar as one entered the house of the Lord. And the priestly guards of the threshold deposited there all the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. Whenever they saw that there was much money in the chest, the royal scribe and the high priest would come up and put the money accumulated in the house of the Lord into bags, and they would count it. Then they would deliver the money that was weighed out to the overseers of the work, who were in charge of the house of the Lord. These, in turn, used to pay the carpenters and the laborers who worked on the house of the Lord, and the masons and the stone cutters. They also paid for wood and for quarried stone with which to make repairs on the house of the Lord, and for every other expenditure that had been made in repairing the house. However, no silver bowls and no snuffers, basins, or trumpets, no vessels of gold or silver were made at the house of the Lord from the money brought into the house of the Lord. This was given only to the overseers of the work for the repair of the house of the Lord. No check was kept on the men to whom the money was delivered to pay the workers, for they dealt honestly. Money brought as a guilt offering or as a purification offering was not deposited in the house of the Lord. It went to the priests. So we see here the ancient tzedakah box, and where that tzedakah went to the upkeep of the synagogue.
כי לעושי המלאכה יתנוהו והשקו בו את ביתות אדוני, ולא יחשבו את האנשים אשר ייתנו את הכסף על ידם לתת לעושי המלאכה, כי באמונה הם עושים. כסף אשם וכסף חטאות לא יובא בית אדוני, לכהנים יהיו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל עולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, אלא נאמן אומר ועושה, המדבר מקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ולמה שבת תעשה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך, מברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד עולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. We turn once again back to our Siddur, page 374. We invite the congregation to rise as the Torahs return to the ark.
עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה בתומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו Adonai Elecha Benashuva Hadesh Hadesh Yameinu Hadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Aleinu, page 586. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני המלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
This moment we think about our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Remember Ronnie Fromberg, Carol Perlman, Sylvia Josefina Valdez, and Gary Schur, all who have died over the past 30 days, for whom we are observing Shloshim. And remember these, the Yortzites of our congregant loved ones, who we have commemorated over this past week: Sylvia Altman, Jerry Balbett, Charles Barnett, Ada Barnett, Dolores K. Book, Belle Korn, Ida Engel, Sophie S. Feldman, Molly Friedman, Murray Greenwald, Leon Hollander, Aaron Al Hollander, Herta Ilse, Morris Joseph, Betty Cantor, Judith Ann Kleinbart, Hilda Cordovi Levy, Irving Miller, Adam R. Mollett, Joel Nimmelman, Joseph Rappaport, Esther Robinson, Jesse Rosen, Celia Solomon, and those who are listed below who are remembered on our permanent memorial walls here in the sanctuary. We join together for Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'galal v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudashah.
Brichu.
Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Once again, want to wish all of you a Shabbat Shalom. Say thank you to Gail Slatko for representing our Board of Trustees as our greeter this morning. And say thank you to our service sponsors, Marcia Glotty in memory of her beloved grandmother, Sophie Feldman, Don and Linda Lokshin in memory of Irving Miller, and Julia Saltpeter in memory of her aunt, Herta Ills. Reminder, two things. Oh man. All right, well, I'm reminding you, even though it doesn't have it on the screen, that Purim is coming up in a few weeks, March 16th. We invite you to join us here in the sanctuary. It will be online, but I promise you, way more fun in person. If you can't be here physically, we understand that. But if you can, I promise you it will be way more fun in person. March 16th, the evening of March 16th, we are doing The Masked Esther, a play on The Masked Singer. If you haven't watched the television show, don't spend a lot of time on it, but you can at least get an idea of where we're going. If you watch an episode, I'm sure you can find it on whatever your streaming service is. Camp Sinai registration, hard to believe that we're thinking about the summer, but yes, it is open, and early bird rates end on Tuesday, March 1st, so that would be next week. Next week. It's really March. It's almost March. So we hope you will join us for that if you've got kids in that age group. We are going to conclude our service with Ein Keloheinu, page 626.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Kadoneinu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nom del Eloheinu, Nom del Adoneinu, Nom del Malkeinu, Nom del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atau Eloheinu, Atau Adoneinu, Atau Malkeinu, Atau Moshienu. Please rise. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו, remember the Shabbat and sanctify it. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, Porei peri agafen. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.